Alright, in this tutorial we'll look at how to set up and display a window with a color in using OpenGL in C++. We'll look at the fundamentals of how to set up the OpenGL project in C++ and then create this. I'll make a separate video about how to set up the Visual Studio. So I have this main.cpp, it's very empty, and first thing we need to do is include those headers of, we definitely need IO stream, then we need the glad, and I have that in my folder as an included library, so that's what it is referring to. And same with the GLFW, that's what I have in my system. So very first thing to test if this works or not, what we are going to do is we're going to write int main, so that's a main function, and then we're going to return 0. So that, and let's say if we were to run this, and actually you can see here it runs with no issues, and I can definitely press any key. Okay, so this tells me that my setup is proper. Now to create a window, we'll actually use GLFW. So GLFW is a library written in C and gives the bare necessities required for rendering things to the screen. It allows us to create an OpenGL context, define the window parameters, and also handle the inputs. Okay, so first thing we'll need to do is to initialize the GLFW, and we can do that right here by writing GLFW init. You should see something like that, and then I'll just write a comment, initialize GLFW. Okay, now the GLFW is initialized. Another thing what we need to do is we also need to terminate the GLFW before ending the program. Okay, terminate the GLFW. Okay, before ending. Now to do that, basically we'll do terminate. Okay, use a C, something like that. So now GLFW is not very smart, so you literally need to tell everything that we need to do. Okay, so GLFW needs to know the version of OpenGL we are using, and we can do that by giving a hint of major and minor version. Here I'll be using a 3.3. So what I can do is basically give the GLFW the hint, window hint, and then I can say GLFW underscore context underscore version, and then major, and then with comma I'll give a version number, and I'll cheat a little bit. Instead of typing again, I'm copying and pasting, and instead of major I'll type it to minor. Okay, and both, since this we are using basically giving we're telling GLFW that we are using the OpenGL version of 3.3. Yep. And then another thing that we also need to tell GLFW is the type of profile that we want to use for OpenGL. So OpenGL has two kinds of profile. One is a core profile, which contains mostly the modern functions, and there's also a compatibility mode, which contains some legacy functions as well as modern functions, but we only care about the modern functions. So what we need to do is basically give another hint, window hint, and then we'll say GLFW underscore open GL underscore profile, and there it is, and then we'll say GLFW underscore OpenGL, and there should be a core profile. Yep, that's what we need. Okay, basically telling GLFW that we are using the core profile. Okay, let me put some space in here. So this is basically just we are setting up. Okay, at this moment nothing will happen because now to actually create the window object, we need to use the data type of GLFW window asterisk, and this is actually inbuilt data type. So, and it takes a 5 input. Okay, and what I can say is basically GLFW and asterisk, sorry, GLFW, and then the window GLFW, and then the window, and then window equals GLFW create window, and then we'll give the width, the height, the name that we want to make, and then either we want to make it full screen or not, and then if we want to share, which we don't want either. Okay, let me see here. For some reason I'm getting an error on the Windows side, so this is, yeah, it needs to GLFW and then window. Okay, there it is. Yeah, this is how we define the window that we want to create in GLFW. So the comment that I will put is create GLFW window of 800 by 800 pixels, naming it OpenGL fundamentals. Okay, fundamental. It doesn't matter. Not only that, to be on the safe side, we also want to create some sort of checker. So it's basically checking to see if the window, if we create the window or not. So we are basically want to check if the window is null, hey, shut down everything and return me that hey, it failed to create. So std, and then we do cout, and then we say hey, failed to create GLFW window. Okay, std and l. Okay, I need another one more right here. Okay, and then yeah, definitely we don't want so same, if it's failing, then I want to terminate the GLFW. Okay, only thing it would be it would return not 0, -1. Okay, so this is basically checking to see if everything is running smooth or not. Okay, and now we have created a window. I'm going to run and see if anything happens. Yeah, it did happen, but then it's very short and blink because we haven't added some sort of loop or condition to stop this. Okay, so the window appears and disappears very quickly. Okay, now what we want to do is, now we have to create the window. We have created the window, but we need to tell GLFW to make the window the part of the current context. Okay, and once we're done with the window, we want to destroy the window, and we need to list that at the end of the main function. Okay, so basically right after we do some sort of null check, what we do is introduce window to current context. So current context is like a, you can think of it as a some sort of container. Make context current, and then that's what we want to pass the window that we created up here, this window, okay? And then after that is done, we want to delete the window before ending the program, okay? And don't confuse, so we are terminating GLFW, okay? Same thing we want to do, we create something, we want to destroy something, okay? And so we do GLFW destroy, no, not cursor, we want to destroy the window, okay? And what window we want to create is the one that we created, okay? All right, cool. So basically, another thing that we need to add is some sort of consistent window that we can see, and that window should disappear only when we click on the exit button or the cross, right? Right now, if I click on play, it shows up, but I mean the whole program runs so fast that the window doesn't get stuck. I don't see the window. It's very short and it blinks. So that means what we need to do is basically now we need to create some sort of game loop until the user creates an X to quit. So we'll add a while loop between this GLFW current context and then destroy. And also we'll need to add add GLFW to process all events like windows appearing, resizing, and those sort of stuff, okay? So this would be the main while loop. Don't confuse it with the main loop that we wrote. So while the GLFW window is not, window should close, there should be function, and then what we don't want to close is this. So if it's not closing, then hey, take care of all the GLFW events, okay? So GLFW poll events. So basically poll events would be resizing, quitting, and everything. Now if I were to run this, it should give me a small window right here. You see, this is the window that we were creating, okay? And it does have the name called OpenGL Fundamentals, and this is 800 by 800 pixels, okay? So I'll close this. Now we see OpenGL, but we want to add some sort of color, or we want to make something on it. Now we'll to add some color, we'll load GLAD. So that GLAD is this, and then so that we can use the needed OpenGL configuration, okay? Basically we'll do that by using GL viewport. So first thing we will do after we check the window to be null, or after we did this, after the main while loop is actually in here, we could do. So we could load the GLAD load GL, and basically this will help to load the thing. And then what we can do is specify the viewport for the OpenGL. Okay, so it's GL viewport, and then we go from 00 up to 800 by 800, right? So that's what we do. And then another thing that we need to keep in mind is how the computer graphics work is, so basically what happens is the display that you're seeing is the front buffer, and on the background the OpenGL would be writing the next frame that we want to see. And basically they swap between two buffers. It basically does the buffer swap, giving us the illusion of continuous images or continuous animation or stuff like that. Okay, so what we need to do now to actually display the graphic on the back is we need to tell OpenGL to prepare to clear the color of the buffer and give it another color. So what we can do is, after we define the viewport, we say, hey, specify color of the background. Okay, so what we'll do is GL clear color, and then this would be 0.07 f13f, and then this would be this is RGBA, f, and then this is alpha, which is transparency, so we want to keep it full. And then after we specify, we want to clean the back buffer and assign the new color to it. Okay, and clean the back buffer and assign the new color to it. Okay, now to do that, we'll do GL clear, and then we'll use GL underscore color underscore. So there are different kind of buffer, but we'll be using this color buffer for this exercise. Okay, and then after we do that, we'll swap the back buffer with the front buffer. Okay, GLFW swap buffers, and then we do window. Okay, now this should be it. Okay, now if I were to run this, all right, this is the window that you used to see. Okay, and definitely this is not working at the moment because, of course, it is only rendering for that 800 by 800. Okay, and this is another thing you should see in the background here, the black screen. So this should be all for this portion of the tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll look at another portion of the OpenGL, maybe creating some triangles, and we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in, and keep subscribing to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.